Hey there, Tad Argray from Marketing for Hippies. I'm on a ferry just now, and thought I'd record some videos while I was in my car, so here I am. Today's video, this is from Sharla Jacobs. I just did a call with a bunch of my colleagues around how to grow your audience, and Sharla Jacobs of Thrive Academy, thrive-academy.com. You can check it out. She talked about how to tell your story and the three elements of your story. So this is sort of the hero's journey, and the breakdown she gave was just so simple, and I think you find it very useful. When you're telling your story, here's the 3 points you want to tell. What's the low point? What's the turning point? And then what's the high point? Well, I guess it'd be like low point, turning point, high point. So what's the low point? The low point is, when it was hardest for you. I lived in a van down by the river, because it's important that people understand that you've actually gone through it. It's, if you've ever gone through something really painful and then you hear somebody talk about it academically, or I read some books about it and now I know something about it, it's offensive in a way. It's important that people get that you really know what it's like firsthand, that you've been there, that you're not a tourist, you're not, gawking from a distance. Number two is the turning point. The turning point is what turned it around, because you'd probably tried a bunch of things, and you can reference, I tried this and this and this, but there's usually something that happens where if it changed, that shifted. I would say for me, one of the turning, so my low point, oh man, one of my low points was having a family friend, our Uncle Art. I was trying to raise money to go to a Tony Robbins seminar, because I didn't have it. I was 18 or something. And I called him up to pitch him, basically. And he said, "Tad, you don't need to wheel and deal me." I remember another time a friend commented on how fake or plastic I'd become, learning all these sales techniques. And it just hurt. I remember those two moments jarred me. I don't know which one I'd pick, but very painful. And the turning point for me was I came across Ari Galper and his work. He used to be unlockthegame.com. Now it's reverseselling.com. And he was the first person I ever heard talk about the reason that marketing feels so terrible is because there's a hidden agenda. What's the hidden agenda? Well, it's to get the sale. And that instead of having a hidden agenda to get the sale, you could have the overt agenda to get to the truth of what? The truth of if it's a fit. And it was like the whole world opened up to me. The whole scaffolding I'd had propping up these ideas of manipulative sales just collapsed. I was and am still so incredibly grateful to that man, because his work completely freed me, liberated me from, I just thought you had to do it. I just thought you had to be pushy. I didn't know there was another way. So yeah, the turning point, it strikes me, maybe an idea you had, but often probably maybe an idea that came to you from grace, from who knows where, from another person. It's usually not from us. And then there's the high point, where you could really feel it had turned around. So high point for me, boy, a high point for me was, you can tell I haven't completely thought these points through from Sharla. I remember being in Edinburgh a couple of years ago, somebody coming up to me and saying, "Tad, I've been to so many workshops, and it's all the same stuff, basically. It's the same content, people just repackage it. And this is yours. This is you." Because the truth is, I hadn't read a book about marketing in years. I'd just been learning from doing it and working with my clients. And it felt so good to have that affirmed. And I get it all the time. It's almost hard to pick. I would really have to sit down. I'm kind of riffing on this now, but I've had so many clients almost in tears with relief that they don't have to do the pushy sales stuff anymore. I remember one woman came to a workshop. This might actually have been one of the high points. She was in a multi-level marketing sales business. This was in Vancouver. And the feeling I got, this is me projecting, but this is how it seemed to me, was she'd learned all this pushy, manipulative sales stuff, but it worked. It does work at some level. And she had kids, and this was putting food on the table. And the whole workshop, I felt like she was coming at me like a sword fight. But it was the strangest feeling, because the sense I got was she was coming at me with her sword, not because she wanted to hurt me, but because she wanted to be unarmed. Isn't it strange? You could attack somebody hoping they'll disarm you, hoping their kung fu is better. And my kung fu was better. It was no problem disarming her. But what about this? Aren't people indecisive? Don't we need to somehow make decisions for people? You know, what about charging what you're worth? It was all this stuff, and it felt so easy for me. Why? Because I'd been exactly where she was. I know that from the inside. I can articulate that better than she can. But I also, this Ari Galper thing and other sources, I somehow got free of it. It was like, it's like the Matrix, being outside the Matrix, or Neo or something. It wasn't hard to disarm her. And every time I did, and the sword would fly out of her hand, she would have this astonished look of just, and by the end of the workshop, she was crying. And what it looked like to me from the outside was tears of relief. That she realized she was out of moves. I'd beaten all of her moves. She'd brought everything that she'd learned. Of course, it wasn't her ideas anyways, but she brought all these ideas from these trainers and trainings, and I'd unpacked them all successfully. And she was so relieved. That's a high point that I'll take with me. Yeah. So I'm just wondering what it would be for you. That's the question. Yeah. What's the low point? What was the point where just you hit kind of rock bottom? What was the turning point? What was the moment it turned around? What was that? And there may be a few, but it probably is helpful to just pick something specific, the biggest one. And then what was the high point? What did that allow? What was created as a result of that? Anyways, my deep bows to Sharla for sharing that with me. I just think that's such a beautiful, simple way of understanding it. And then over to you. Give it a try. See what you come up with. And next time somebody says, what do you do? This can be a part of it. I used to struggle with this, and then I had this, and then it's not a bad way to talk about it. So that's all. If you like my videos, as always, there's the red subscribe button on YouTube. Click that, and then the little bell icon will notify you when new videos come. On my website, marketingtherapies.com, there's tons of free stuff. And looks like we're pulling in here. And then, there's tons of stuff going on. I've got a new membership program launching, marketingtherapies.com/membership. And if you like this video, please share it up in Facebook groups you're in or on your Facebook page. That's all from the harbor, from the, this ferry that I'm on. Take care.